Nancy, thank you for being here with us. I have some questions on what you learned at the What Works Center. In particular, can you tell us a bit about what sort of intervention or problems you think local commissioners should focus on in order to create the best impact on well-being?
So we know from about 50 years of wellbeing research that there are about 50% of your adult wellbeing becomes from your early life experiences, so from your home you brought up in and your childhood experiences, and the other 50% is from your adulthood. So that would suggest that the priorities should be in childhood should focus on maternal mental health. That is the biggest household factor that determines later adult well-being, and childhood emotional health as well. So those are my top two in childhood, and thinking about the relationship between parents and that impact on children. In adulthood, the top three things that you should focus on in reverse order are employment, which has an effect beyond just income. Having a job is usually mostly better than not having a job. The partner relationship, the quality of that partner relationship really matters. It's the second most important thing, and the top most important thing is your health, and within that the emotional health is the most important factor.
So what type of measures or metrics do we have to measure well-being?
So wellbeing is now really quite a well-established set of measures. It's being used internationally for some time, so the OECD has been pioneering this. So there are measures internationally. You can compare yourself with other OECD places very easily online. But we also are pioneering this in the UK. So the UK National Statistics measures a suite of measures, there's 10 different domains, which look at how we're doing as individuals, as communities and as a nation, and how sustainable that is for the future. And there are more specific frameworks within Wales and Scotland as well, which means you can get into more detail. Within that, there are some really, really key personal wellbeing measures that are really effective, and what a lot of data sets are around to compare it to, and including on social capital. But life satisfaction is a measure that's been used internationally for some time, but also measures of worthwhile, happiness, anxiety, social connection, trust, are all measures that are being really pioneered in the UK.
Thank you. And do you see the What Works Center as a player in contributing to develop outcome-based commissioning for local authorities?
We really hope so. So we see wellbeing as a measure that can be used across a whole range of programmes that don't immediately look connected. So our work programme, for example, covers culture and sport, work and learning, and community wellbeing, not at first glance connected, but you can be able to have a way of comparing the impact across those different across interventions in those different areas, so that you can look at a sporting intervention, compare it with something in the workplace or in the community, which allows commissioners to really look at where they can make the biggest impact in their area using the data and knowledge that they've got. The other thing that we do is we use evidence standards that are the same as ones used in clinical practice in NICE, both in quantitative and qualitative evidence, which means that you can know the degree of confidence you're putting in when you commission something, as to whether it's a promising, there's some evidence base that's in early days, it's initial, this is what we need to test, or whether it's promising, or whether we can be really quite confident this is something that will work. And that, I think, will help give commissioners much more structure in something that can feel very fluffy to start with. There is some really hard evidence out there across a range of domains.
And do you have any top tips for local authorities who want to try and use outcome-based commissioning?
So I think my top tip out is that the UK is brilliant actually on data. We may have our problems with the data sets, but the UK is brilliant on its data, and we are spending a huge amount of money and effort on doing things all the time. We're rolling out services, we're changing them, making improvements, and I don't think we learn enough from the data we already collect, and from the things that we already do, and from the things that we roll out in various ways. So it's quite easy, I suspect it'd be easier to learn from all of that effort and data that we've already got, albeit it'll have its problems, rather than just having new stuff and new measures all the time. So my top tip would be to use the information and you've got and the things you're already spending money on to understand that better and improve the services for the people in your area.